Good morning, my friends. How are we? I forgot. Can you bring in my coffee, love? Welcome to Paranormal Witchcraft LLC. I am Tobias Josephson. This is our Wake Up with Paranormal Witchcraft workshop series. It's a new restructuring a framework.
Where's your cup?
That's out there.
Oh.
And so today we're going to be talking about some continuing subjects as part of the workshop. As we said here, my friends, let me make sure you guys can see me because I am in the sun. All right, I think you guys can. All right, and so thank you, my love. All right, so welcome to Paranormal Witchcraft LLC. I am Tobias Josephson. Hope everybody is waking up just fine. So once again, we're going to be continuing our workshop series this morning. Be asking some tough questions. We're going to be asking for some engagement, and we're going to be asking for some answers and some conversation. So with that being said, let's get started. Good morning. You're escalating your investigations. Some of the most convincing moments in paranormal investigations do not originate from the environment. They originate from escalation. Not fraud, not fabrication, escalation. Escalation can sometimes feel powerful because it feels meaningful to us when we're activated, when we're turned up, when springtime blues hit, all right? We're trying to fight the stagnant energies of our minds, our bodies, our souls, our environments. Escalation feels powerful because it feels meaningful, and meaning is what investigators are actually looking for. And we're trained to observe, we're trained to perceive, we're trained to thrive in the silence. So if silence makes you awkward, hopefully we can help you out today and give you some tips. There's always a moment when the room shifts. We all know it, we all feel it. It kind of happens in investigation. Everybody kind of knows when that moment happens. Good morning. Who do we have here? We have Nikki and we have Chris. Good morning. How are we, my friends? Blessings and blessed be. So escalation feels powerful because it feels meaningful. And meaning is what us investigators and paranormal researchers and even practicers in our ritualized disciplines are trained to do and look for. There's always a moment when the room shifts. You could be sitting there with everybody, minding your own business. You could have a recording device with you. All right. You could be sitting in the complete dark like me and Fonda love to do. We like to break off from the teams and go find the cobweb spirits, if you will. And we just kind of walk around in the dark. All right. And just kind of fumble around and have some fun with it. We are doing great. I'm glad you're feeling better. Beautiful. I'm glad you're feeling better. Trevor actually just got over that as well in my group, Nikki, and God damn, I think it's been like 2.5 weeks he was on his back. So this flu that's going around the country is no joke. Like, we have masks in the house, and because the kids are that concerned about it, and so we're honoring everybody's fear. And I'm going to say here online in YouTube world that if you feel the need to still wear a mask to protect yourself, that's fine. Go for it. All right. Don't take any of that epidemic crap from people. You're simply trying to protect yourself if you feel the need. Okay. Now, people like myself aren't going to be so anal about that. You have to breathe. You have to go out into public sometimes. You might forget to protect yourself. Okay. Sometimes that happens, and so I'm kind of the variety that if I forget to do that and it happens, it happens. But some people right now are just like, they're putting themselves in a bubble And it seems to be about 50% of the population doing that. The other 50% are kind of like me. They're just kind of like, eh. Ah, okay. I get you. I like that. Let's use that term today. Have you ever had something that felt like an ascension flu? That's a good way to put it, guys. I like that. So, anyways, escalation feels powerful and meaningful in our investigations because that's what investigators and researchers are trained to do when we get there. We are trained to observe, we're trained to perceive, we're trained to collect data points. We are trained to stay calm. We are trained to use regulation, keep that containment and responsibility going. Someone says, "Did you hear that?" Or "It's just changed in here," in their face. Right? No. Down, down. Remember yesterday we were talking about pause, re-stabilize. Pause, re-stabilize the team, the crew, the clients, everybody, the entire space. Pause everything that re-stabilizes. Make sense? Makes sense. Let's move on. There's always a moment when the room shifts and you'll hear somebody every time go, "Did you hear that? It just changed in here." Looking for validation. Okay. Activating other people on purpose. Don't do that. Back down. Have you ever noticed how quickly the emotional temperature goes from ice cold to pause, re-stabilize the investigation. You don't want to look like the TV people. You don't. You do, but you don't. Have you ever noticed how quickly that temperature changes? It's everywhere. You could probably apply this to work situations, life situations. It's funny how fast, when emotional temperature changes, it's funny how people just only remember, your brains go out the window because your emotions are turned up. Your brain has to focus on that, figure out what's going on. And you may not be as cognitive as you think you are. That's all it's saying. Okay. We're not challenging anybody's beliefs out there. Okay. Stay with us. So you've noticed, all of a sudden everyone around you is turned up. And maybe if you're logical like myself, you're just going to be like, nothing really happened. What's going on here? Yes. So let's use some real world examples. Let's see if I can't help you guys out. Let's see if our team, Chris, Nikki, the shadow workers, and our others, all right, and the teammates themselves who mostly are working and doing some stuff, all right. Let's see if we can't help you guys out with this structured workshop. This is something we came up with. We call this a workshop because this is our knowledge we're trying to impart on YouTube land. Good morning, YouTube land. Before the label, the room is neutral. Can we all agree on that? Comment below, yes or no. Before the label, before the environmental temperature shift, before the emotional temperature shift, the room was neutral, was it not? Things were going okay until something triggered everyone else. After the label, all right, when you notice that change and you're looking around, here's what's happening. The room tightened. You feel the energy shift. Okay. The attention narrows, the breathing shifts, the posture changes, people start getting more rigid. That synchronization is not supernatural. I'm sorry. It's neurological, it's psychological. And once you synchronize, interpretation accelerates. And we're here to educate people on different ways, different tools, different techniques you can try. So that way you can keep yourself contained. Remember, the name of this workshop in the mornings is Containment, over chaos. Okay, just like at night, it's a similar theme. All right, and that's why we're using this channel for both. Okay, it's one thesis. All right, but pivoting just a little bit, but all staying in the same lane. We're educating, 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 educating. Responsibility, no escalation. If you're escalating, you pause. Okay, so this is why you're going to hear this terminology come up repeatedly, 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 because it's meant to be educating, 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 educating. You don't have to utilize it, but you can if you want to. Once your nervous system starts to synchronize, you should be pulling yourself out of the fire. If not, here's some things we can do about that going forward. Everybody has the opportunity to get better. Everybody, every day. Yes, you have to keep your energy points in flow, or you can't be the best investigator. You can't be the best researcher. Okay, you just can't, because you're allowing yourself to allow other people around you to rent that space in your brain. All right, and you're going to get yourself tripped up. Focus on you, focus on your team, focus on the investigation. Don't allow the pressure of performance get to you. A lot of times that's what happens. That's why we're seeing the escalating narratives everywhere you look when it comes to paranormal investigating. Okay, everybody out there is, all right, using dramatic narratives right off the bat. Okay, and a lot of them are using places with repeat spots that have general guaranteed activities. Okay, and so that is sometimes subconscious conditioning. That means, yes, you very well may have collected data in there in the past, but every single time you need to make sure, as an investigator and a researcher, you're making sure as much as possible you're not allowing any external influences to affect your investigation. And the biggest weapon we have against that is ourselves. Okay, you want to see yourself on TV, maybe you want to see yourself on a podcast, whatever. Do it from the bottom. Do it step by step by step. Follow the people that are better and aren't using dramatic narratives in their investigations. Those are the people like Blue Mountain Paranormal. Okay, and many, many others. Paranormal Exposures, those are friends of ours. Okay, so those are good teams to look at. They're grounded, they're stable, they're structured, they're aligned, they do educational, they do services. Okay, they're not worried about the dramatic narratives that everybody else around us is. It has to be balls to the walls for their hunts every single time, and from the moment you step onto the property, you feel the doom and the gloom, and you're immediately creeped out. And that is why they do what they do with the shorts and stuff. They have most of you thinking that that's what you're getting the entire time. And simply and sadly, the truth is it's more like fishing. You have to know where to fish, and you have to know how to catch the fish you want to catch. Let's continue. Consider a real world example. You're in a hallway of an older building or an asylum, or you're at Pennhurst, or you're Sheboygan, wherever you are in the country, whatever it is you're doing. It could even be Crybaby Bridge or something like that. Consider this real world example, if you will. There are natural settling sounds everywhere in everything. Somebody suddenly whispers, "That was a response," or something like, "Did you hear that?" Okay. And then immediately everybody what? They take that person's cue as proof. Okay. Immediately, every sound is filtered through the intention. Immediately, the activation goes from zero, from neutral, like we said at the top of the page, to all of a sudden everybody's turned up. Okay, there's got to be a happy medium from neutrality to getting investigative data material. Now, that's not to say it doesn't happen like that sometimes for real. It does. Okay, you will walk into a real haunted place sometimes and get that, but it isn't like that all the time, every single place you go. Would we like it to be as human beings? Abso-freaking-lutely, of course. But the underbelly and the truth of it is it's just not like that yet. We just don't have enough knowledge about the spiritual. We just don't have enough data about the paranormal. We just have speculative best guesses at best right now, no matter who you are in the fields. Okay? And we're still learning every day. We're gaining new knowledges as well, and this industry does evolve. It's just a little slower than other industries. Okay, so immediately everyone starts getting turned up, everybody starts getting excited, people start turning on their devices, there's whispering, you'll feel and hear the chattering as well, etc., etc., etc. The building did not change, the emotional filter did. We went from neutral to a million miles an hour supernova energy over one little tink. That's escalation. That is not investigation. Let's say that 2 more times. That is escalation. That is not investigation. And one more time to seal the deal in our brains. That is escalation. That is not investigation. If you're a lead and you're doing that, shame on you. Suggestion does not require deception. Suggestion should not require deception. We can't be using escalation as suggestion, because what we're doing then to the people who've paid good money to hunt with us is we are using a form of deception. And that requires influence. I don't think you guys are getting into paranormal investigations, getting into paranormal research activity to be that type of person, are you? Comment yes or no below. That is a completely random, off the top of my head question I would like answered. Are you that type of investigator? Yes or no. Be honest. Or better yet, have you found yourself using a form of escalation accidentally, inadvertently in any of your investigations before you caught yourself? Good answer, Chris. Good answer. No, you should not have. It's kind of like one of those true or false, but true or false moral questions. What kind of human being are you that's doing investigation? What kind of human being are you that's being a professional lead investigator? That is indicative of the success of the team or the fall of the team. In most paranormal investigations, and entities and businesses and teams fail within the first year because of interpersonal infighting, interpersonal escalation, and that is a fact. We're trying to get everybody out there to learn that you have to keep your team regulated. You have to use containment, or you're never going to get off the ground. You're going to use that dramatic escalation to deceive everybody, and eventually people are going to start figuring it out, and they're going to start walking away from your entity. All right, because that's not what they're coming to paranormal investigation for. Yes, everybody wants the explosive, dramatic escalation activity. Of course, that's what we're all running there for. It's exciting, it's adventurous, it makes us feel alive. Okay, for some of us, it's a bucket list type of thing. So all these emotions in there, and so you can easily see how the escalation happens over time sometimes, and why the more serious ones will stand up like I am and others and try to show people a different way. Okay, again, we're not attacking anyone's beliefs or opinions. Do as you will, but this is our friendly advice here, YouTube. Have you ever watched one emotionally intense team member change the entire tone of an investigation? Yes or no? There you go. There you go. Richard Williams answered. He said, no, sir, not unless I was younger, and that's what we're trying to say. And like we were saying last night with the brotherhood, that's why I'm going back to basics, because I saw myself doing some old personality traits starting the business, and I was being pulled down in other people's toxicity and using the same personality traits against other people and I caught myself. And so that's where this idea came from. And then I noticed in the Brotherhood, it has been going on for a couple years. And so enter the new restructuring and the YouTube channel. So there's your brief cliff note on what's been going on over the past 6 months. So this has been in the works for a very, very, very long time. Okay, so the building didn't change. The people in it did. That's what happened. And remember, the title of this broadcast is what, guys? It's a very hardcore question, but we got to start talking about these things. You're relating your investigations. And that's not to say that we haven't done it. The guy next to us hasn't done it. This isn't calling anybody out. This isn't attacking individuals. This is talking about the industry as a whole and what we can do to change that for the better, especially if we want to be leaders in the paranormal industry, right? Especially if we want to be people who are going to be the public figures or the mentors of others for teams. Makes sense to show some responsibility, right? The escalation spreads through suggestion, which is the fastest way to get anybody tuned into anything. Commercials, TV shows, it's the same format, just in wordage and just in actions. Mass hysteria happens, one person freaks out and the whole group gets going. Right. It's this mass think tank mentality we're trying to get around here in both groups. Okay? That's what we're trying to do without saying it. Okay? What's wrong with social media right now, unfortunately, is it is stuck in a form of mass think hysteria. And there's nothing any of us individually are going to do to change that corporation or those members who are the 99% who are there right now. You will not find me there going forward 90% of the time anymore. That is not who I am. That's not who I ever inspired to be. And I don't want to be anything like any of those individuals on Facebook. I don't. It doesn't align with our business model here. It doesn't align with anybody here on our team. And all it does is cause drama. All right. And so we have gone a completely different direction because that's just not who we are. We are not those people who are here to monetize and be fake so we can get people to think we're being serious when really we're just trying to hype ourselves up to make a buck. That is not the paranormal investigation team you are looking at here. The room's charged. Once it's charged, ambiguity starts feeling directed. The ambiguity starts feeling directed at you guys. Others begin mirroring that posture unconsciously. People get triggered, like Richard and Chris and others are saying here in the chat. It just happens. What we're trying to do is teach you guys something so you can be responsible and pull yourself out of that shit. If it's not for you, hard left. All right. If you want to be happy, that's what it's all about. If you want to be right, go back to social media. Yes, as facilitators, as lead investigators, it is our responsibility to make sure everybody in the investigation, including crew members and the locations, aren't harmed. So we don't understand at Paranormal Witchcraft why we're looking around and the entire world is doing the exact opposite, and yet it's supposed to be okay. It's not. It's escalation. The room's changed. Ambiguity starts feeling directed at everybody, like we were saying. The HVAC might, or the air conditioner might be knocking, and everybody goes, "Did you hear that?" And everybody's energy starts shifting. Somebody next to you sees it, they start doing the same thing. Now, everybody, before you know it, has bought into the fakeness, and they don't even know it. A faint draft becomes intentional. A distinct knock becomes interactive. A random flicker becomes intelligence. What are we doing here, guys? Yes. What we're simply trying to do here at Paranormal Witchcraft is educate in ways we do it that works for us, and they are regulated, they are grounded, they're responsible, and they all revolve around the number one keyword for anything we do in our practice and our investigations: safety, personal and everything else thereof. Safety, safety, safety. Responsibility is in the word safety. Safety implies knowing. Safety implies responsibility. Safety implies professionalism. All right. Safety implies authority, and it keeps people safe because you're not coming from a place of egotism. You're using your passion, and your passion will keep you caring. It will not make you forget who you are, and you'll start stepping on your friends' faces to get there. Not because the stimulus changed. Somebody else caused that escalation. Because the interpretation has now accelerated and everybody's turned up, every team has to have a containment threshold, and this is it for us at Paranormal Witchcraft. Containment over chaos, escalation loop, recovery techniques. Stop the escalation in its tracks, just like you stop a wildfire, just like you prepare for a hurricane, just like you prepare for a trip. Everything we do should be in the same manner. Everything we do, every action, repeatedly, consistently. Okay, that's how you get better. You don't just wildly reach for things that aren't really there and call it data and call yourselves a professional. You can't. You have to show people your work. Indeedy do, my friend, says Richard Williams 3566. That's why I always research areas before I go. I want to know the entire history of the location. Very good point. Respect is also what you want to do for everyone. And that way, the people who are hunting with you, say we have a couple individuals, friends of ours, Sherry and Steve, say they come to a hunt with us. They're going to want to get the best experience they can with us, right? They're they're going to want to get freaked out and have fun and all that good stuff. Okay, but we're going to make sure, damn it, they don't do it from a place of fakeness. Okay, all right, because that's just being done to death. It has now become a toxic reality in paranormal industry, is that everybody truly believes it has to be escalation or you're not an investigator or you're not worth being looked at because you're not creating engaging, blowing up body parts, whatever type of podcasting content. And so therefore everyone thinks you're not a good investigator because you're not grabbing their attention like everybody else, using a strobe light and catchy words, if you will, and stuff like that. Okay, so that should be a red flag. Number one, AI. I'm only using AI for our thumbnails. That's it. That is it. I use AI for the research. I back it up against mine, fact check it, and then I use it. That's how I do it. I'm not using it for the graphic crap. All right, because that is immediate escalation. AI is immediate escalation to me. It's immediately irresponsible right now. And so that's why I'm trying to show people that you can still use your words, you can still use Mr. Chat GPT and stuff, but you don't have to use it like everybody in the world's using it. Yeah, it's cool. I use it for graphics and stuff, like I said in the thumbnail, but to like use the graphics and the video looping and the all at once, you got to go slow, okay? Because you're going to overwhelm people. And again, the younger generation isn't intelligent enough to know, all right, that they're being faked. All right. And so that bothers us. It's a moral compass thing. A faint draft becomes intentional right off the bat. All right. And once we cross that threshold, all right, back into containment, conclusion shorten. All right, certainty increases. We start grounding ourselves. We start calming our voices down like we are now. We take those 5-second breath work techniques, we practice them We give ourselves a 10-minute break. We get back in there and we do it again. That is called an escalation loop technique, which means you're going, all right, everybody calm down. And you're putting authority back into the room. It stops everybody in their tracks energetically. You're calming down the tone. You're helping everybody else follow your lead. Your pause, stabilizing the environment. Now you can continue your research as you were. Okay, it takes practice, it takes consistency. Remember, I was talking last night with the Brotherhood. 21 days, you can retrain your brain. Once crossed, certainty increases, speculation rises. Now you have everybody calm back down from that moment. They're no longer increasing the certainty of what the speculation was. Have you ever seen a team move from neutral logging, mean nothing was really going on? I'll give you my own real world example here in a second. So it's called neutral logging when there's a dip. It's like a drift. There's nothing really going on. It's an awkward silence. And we need to be uncomfortable. We need to be comfortable with the silence, not uncomfortable. And so have you ever been at an investigation and you've seen the energy move from neutral where nothing was going on to confident interpretation in under 5 minutes because of what we were just talking about? If your answer is yes, please comment below kindly. Thank you.